Hello, and thanks for joining us back here at the Galaxy YouTube channel. I'm Dan King, the Director of Media. Today, behind us is San Francisco, out the 34th story of our studio. It's beautiful, right? And we are at Semicon West, and today I am yet again joined by our co-founder and CEO, Wes Smith. Thanks for coming back for the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth time.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Always fun.
If you've missed any of our interviews, we've had Wes at different places and conventions around. We have a playlist of interviews. Wes has done some content where he talked about AI, machine learning, deep learning, all these different things, and what's the difference between one and the other, machine learning, all this. And so if you want to see those, you can check out the rest of our videos as well. So we are in San Francisco, Semicon. This is only, oddly enough, I think only my second Semicon ever. I think you've been coming forever, right?
Not forever, but for quite a while. Yeah, I was looking back through some photos. My first Semicon was in 1998, and right down there at Moscone. And that was 3 or 4 jobs ago. So I've been in the semiconductor industry since 95 and have been attending Semicon since 98. And it's always a lot of fun. You always get to meet new people. You always get to catch up with old friends, and almost always learn something new.
How do you feel the attendance sort of has been now that we're, more post-COVID than ever?
Thank goodness.
Does it feel like it's back to normal?
Yes, this is a very encouraging crowd for me. I haven't seen Semicon this lively and this crowded in probably more than 5 years.
Good. So it's maybe even bigger than pre-COVID then.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, pre-COVID, when they had solar next door, the attendance was starting to decline. Now we have DAC next door, and so we've got a good design automation crowd, and we got a good fab crowd. We got a good assembly and test crowd, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of interesting things to see on the floor. Somebody had a 450 millimeter silicon ingot, which is, I don't know, it's the size of a trash can lid. It'll be interesting to see if that ever goes anywhere. I mean, 300 was expensive and hard enough, so we'll see.
Have you noticed any themes or trends going through the different talks? I know you've been going to a lot of the different presentations that's been here. So are there any fibers of consistency?
Yes, certainly. Now, Galaxy being in the semiconductor software business, we're a software company targeting the semiconductor industry. So, of course, my ears and eyes are attuned to data analytics. However, you hear it from others. In fact, we had a talk yesterday with Kim Butler. He said, "Oh, yeah, it's all about data analytics," and he's a hardware guy. So data analytics is a big deal, and it's becoming a bigger deal because people are realizing if we're going to get to some very big goals that the industry has set out, the theme for the conference this week is called push to $1 trillion or something like that.
Yeah.
And if we're going to get there, it's going to require more than just hardware and brute force. We're going to have to bring to bear some really powerful analytics tools. So it's fun to see that theme emerging in a lot of the talks.
Yeah, because those types of things, like you're saying, maybe were in software circles forever or more recently, and now you're seeing it in other like hardware industries. Now they're talking about it too. The buzzwords back in the day, maybe 5 years ago, was big data, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's AI, machine learning, it's ML, stuff like that. How big of a presence has AI and machine learning had here? Do we even still hear about big data anymore?
I think big data has, as a buzzword, receded into the background, but everybody is aware of it. Just like you go to the car show, people don't talk about gasoline. Big data is a necessary but insufficient condition. And frankly, it's kind of hard to manage because the volumes are ever growing, the complexity is ever growing. As a software company, we have to deal with those challenges. So it's fascinating to hear how other people have attempted to address the problem, some with more success than others.
So with AI and machine learning, has there been, I feel like the next big thing, which is always a big thing, but maybe now because of AI machine learning is going to be even bigger, is security. Is security at all presence here? Like, are people talking about, because when you look at AI and machine learning, you're doing things maybe unsupervised with people's data that is proprietary. And I only imagine that people are going to be paranoid about that because I mean, it's not really humans doing things, right? So
Yeah, you alluded to something in your question that we've heard a couple times people bring up. There's the ever-present issue of data small s security, which is how do I protect my data, my sensitive information from people who shouldn't see it? Um, but you alluded to another aspect, which is this fear of the machines taking over and making decisions that might be suboptimal, shall we say. And I mean, how many science fiction movies have as a theme the robots taking over?
right.
Uh, and I'm not real concerned about that in the short term, at least, because I think humans are going to continue to bring to bear wisdom and intelligence. But I mean, down the road, who knows? Uh, I hear some friends of mine in a completely different industry, in the airline industry, they talk about how some of the younger pilots have become so dependent on the software that they can't fly literally by the seat of their pants anymore.
Right.
And so that's a genuine concern, and we may find ourselves getting into a place in our industry where the knowledge and the wisdom of years of experience starts retiring, and then the new generation coming up may not be able to, may be more dependent on the software and maybe more dependent on the AI. And then if there's a power failure, what do we do? Um, I hear some people expressing that concern. I don't really hear a lot of people doing anything about it yet. It's almost like we see this tidal wave coming and people are wondering, what are we going to do about this?
Yeah. Were there any other new trends that are emerging in this year's Semicon that makes you want to think that certain things are changing in different directions that maybe you have to think about business in a different direction or technology in a different direction?
As an American company, we are made aware of geopolitical concerns. We have to be cautious whom we sell to outside the U.S. And we're not considered one of the really super high level security risk type software companies, and there are some of those here. And so they're constantly worried about, well, if I can't sell to certain places, how do I make up that business? And various opinions are emerging. There's some opinions that we're going to have a bifurcation in the semiconductor supply chain. I guess we have to wait and see.
Wow. Well, I guess it's a good thing that TSMC is making a plant in my hometown, Phoenix, Arizona, right now. We might need it. Okay, last question. Could be engineering related or not. What's the coolest or most unique thing you saw here? I'll give you my example. I took an Uber the other day to a production studio to get some extra last minute items here to make the studio run. It is the first time ever that I was picked up in an Uber in a Tesla. And I did not know that was even a thing. But apparently in San Francisco, it makes sense, I guess.
Or maybe that's a sign of the times.
I've never seen it. I'm like, okay, how does this make any sense from a ROI standpoint, right? I guess, well, they're not using gas, and apparently those things are supposed to be able to run forever, right? If you can pay for the energy, those engines are supposed to be able to just run forever. But it really made me go, huh, okay, usually you see like the Toyota Corollas, the Nissan, like the smaller economic cars, the ones that make the most sense. And I was like, I'm in a Tesla, this makes no sense, but I'm at Semicon and I'm in San Francisco. That to me was like the number one, like, interesting, unique little thing that I took away from this being here. Did you see anything either technology related or meeting related or dinner related or anything that you saw in San Francisco that really went, well, that was fun or that was different?
I was pleasantly surprised at the cleanliness of this neighborhood around the convention center.
Yes. It's immaculate.
Clearly the city has decided that they're going to clean up at least this neighborhood. Now, I didn't drift too far afield, so I don't know what else is going on.
Well, I was a 10-minute walk away, and I stayed on Market Street, and it was like that all the way down there.
Pretty good shape.
Yeah, even down that way.
That was a pleasant surprise. I was also happy to see robots back on the Semicon floor doing stuff, which we haven't seen in a few years. So that's encouraging.
Cool.
By and large, the most encouraging thing to me was the energy, the fact that we filled out both sides of Moscone, which we haven't done in years.
Right.
It's encouraging to see this level of support of the industry.
Yeah, it's like we're back. We're here.
Yes,
we're back. Let's get back on the train.
We've been in a funk for 5 to 8 years.
Yep.
And now we're back. We're renewing. We're moving forward. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in the industry.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get past the chip shortage and we'll be
Actually,
all good.
chip shortage is pretty good for us.
It's great for us. It's great
because one of the things Galaxy does is improve efficiency and yield. So
the cool thing is now they're forced to deal with that.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you never. Often you don't know what you want or you don't know what you need until you don't have it. Right.
Exactly.
And so when you're forced to do something different, you realize, how did I live without this? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when things are better, it's still going to make things better. Right. Like it.
Yes. Gotcha.
Right? Like you need it now because of the chip shortage. But even when times are better in that regard, you realize the efficiencies that you've gained and the things that you've learned and the way that you can run your business now that you didn't even before that.
That's
so
right.
You come out on the other side even better. So even when the chip shortage does completely go away, you're right.
I hope it doesn't. I hope that there's always demand for microchips, honestly.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time. If you like this interview, go ahead and put a thumbs up. You can subscribe to us if you want to see more. We have playlists of all the interviews we've done at all the conventions. You can check those out, and we will see you next time.